Hello. Today we are not doing a face-off. We are celebrating the celebrated hollow ground for Barbers use. I have fettled with it. I have done it up. It's fully restored, or at least my kind of restored, meaning I've been very gentle with the metal in all aspects. You can still see the grind marks. I'm sure this video won't, portray them in any manner really. But yeah, you can still see the grind marks that come down both sides. Manufacturing marks, which is what I wanted to make sure. And you can look, you see it's a clean razor. I've took this through my progression up to the Shapton Pro 12,000. I've gently stropped it on some green paste, which was already on like a crop strop, one of the ones that you can tighten and untighten, and gently stropped it on 0.25 THK diamond paste, and then give it 100 laps or near, damn it, with my strop that I made a long time ago. So it's the first time I'm going to shave with a Mr. Celebrated hollow ground for Barbers use, Wade and Butcher. I vowed that when I bought this I would sell it, even if it is an absolute joy. It is certainly a joy to hold, let's put it that way. For somebody that just appreciates sharp things and forms of craftsmanship, it's some bit of kit, man. It really is. It's heavy. Like my fillies, I need to weigh them because I'm not too sure, but this just feels more substantial. It's got horn, buffalo horn scales with some, well, I think rather lovely bullseye pins, well, collars, sorry. The horn scales, in sort of, especially the sunlight anyway, you can see sort of like little white flecks and stuff, some nice little kind of, I don't know how to describe it really with scales, with horn scales, but there's almost like this wave-like kind of, and I guess that's kind of in a way growth rings, but without me putting study into it, I don't know. It's turned out lovely, frankly. I'm a bit proud of it. It's got a brass wedge instead of the original lead one. Even if I wanted to keep it original, like it was knackered. Like there was a bit at the bottom that kind of just sort of wore out, and it was just crap, man. Really old razor. And I think I said it in one of my other videos. I got this from some dude in America where he was just sort of selling off some of his, I think it was his uncle's sort of bits and bobs and that to pay for his, well, healthcare basically. And yeah, this was it. The scales had had it, the collars had had it as well. Like, I'd have reused the collars if I could, but nah, they'd had it. I've still got them. Yeah, it's just been lovely to do, frankly. It's been lovely. So let's give it a whirl, eh? It's the first time shaving with a razor like that. Like I said, I've got fillies, I've got 14s, and that kind of 14 shape. But it makes me laugh, like, because they call that hollow ground, or at least they did. And look, technically it is, but it's almost like a quarter hollow, really, just on a big scale. It certainly don't move much on the stones, let's put it that way. When you're honing like proper hollow grounds, if you put your finger near the point where it's going to come off the stone, you can feel like the blade like almost warp as it comes off the edge. And even if you use the lightest pressure like imaginable, with the proper real thin hollow grinds and everything, it still does it. Like, it's just a part of the way they're working around. So again, I'm going to be shaving today using, my lime soap. This is a Geo Thumper, relatively new to being used after my old Crabtree and Evelyn sandalwood, which I was rather fond of. And I'm getting more fond of this one now, to be fair. It does smell like it's coming to the fore a little bit more. I've had some sort of, we call them newbies. I think that's not offensive in any way, because everybody's new at something, and I think that's the term they use nowadays for people like that. So I've had some newbies message me, like they've bought some razors off me, or a razor, and kind of, you know, don't know where to go. Like, I think nearly everybody really, especially with straight razor shaving, unless you're lucky enough to have a family member that was still doing it, and you know, I think that's very few and far between. So yeah, they've been asking sort of like forms of advice and everything. I know, you know, I've been giving it as, but one of the things they've asked is, because I always do this off camera, I always kind of like preload it just to save everybody's time. But all I do is that's it. And if you've got a badger brush, this is a synthetic, this is a Kent BLK 12S Silvertex, is it Silvertex? Yeah. It's a rather nice brush, but it's big. It's definitely like on the big side. I will get a little traveller one at some point, but I don't care too much for brushes basically. You know, I'm a metal guy. I love the blades. I quite like the sharpening side of it as well, like, you know, like the strops and the stones and whatnot. But brushes, definitely not. You know, find a good brush, stick with it, that's what I say. Anyway, I've tried loads of badger ones and they ain't as good as this. And, sorry, I was just getting distracted by my dog then. You know, that's it really, just got that. But, oh yeah, sorry, so if you've got a badger brush, from what I've read and studied, you're meant to do it lighter, just quite light, because you can end up bending your bristles and whatnot and deforming them quicker. Whereas these synthetics, I just don't think you have to care about that much, because, you know, they bounce back and hey presto, they look like new again. Well, I'm just going to wet my face again because it's a bit dry. It's 2 days grown. I've got my CV lava catcher 7-day set. It's absolutely beautiful, especially the blades, because again, I'm a blade fan. 2 of the blades have got tiniest little microchips, and from what I've been reading, like Mr. Carl Victor, excuse me, he made them blades especially hard, like harder than, you know, like a straight razor basically. So I imagine they're going to take a lot of honing in that, but I'm looking forward to it. So I'm not going to shave with any of it until I've honed my first blade, so it's my blade basically. It does seem like some of the blades will shave with a bit of a gentle strop, but I've decided I'm not going to shave with any of them, because until I put my edge on, they're not mine, and that's the way I look at shaving stuff basically. I hope you all had a good week. I've had quite a stressful week at work. There we go. And I am still impressed with how this Geo Thumper lathes up. It probably lathes up a bit better than my Crabtree and Evelyn, to be frank. I like hard pucks, that's what I go for generally, and that's what somebody, like, you know, some of the newbie people have been asking me. I've got a couple of like what I call soft shaving like bowl things. I forget the brand of them now, it's like the Italian thing. I've not really used them too much, but I've got an aloe vera one and the original one, green and red tub, and they're good as well. I do like them, but I prefer my hard pucks. Just feel like they're a bit less messed around with as well, like chemically. This one and this new puck creates so much more lava, it does. It gets me in a bit of a mess, frankly, which is quite fun. Look, loads of it, and you see how much time I put into frothing up, and you see how much more, you know, it's holding loads, and these do hold loads anyway, because it's, like I said, it's a big old It's a big old brush. I bought that by mistake years ago. Let's tidy up a tiny bit. Do some pizzas after this. Homemade pizzas, can't beat them. Well, don't do the base. So here we go. Alright. Been after one of these for so long. But like I said, I vowed when I bought it, I was going to sell it. And the reason I vowed that is because I knew how many hours I put into it. So I'm not going to make money on it, you know what I mean, in terms of hours. That is for sure. But let it go back into the wild. You know, whoever buys it, they could tighten the scales up a bit more. You know, they could probably polish them up a bit more, especially if you've got one of them like rotary mops, as long as you're careful not to catch the blade. Which I ain't got or won't use, no need for what I do. And I think the blade, you know, if you wanted to get on the, I don't know, 2,500 wet and dries, be careful. You could make it prettier as well, but I don't think that's the point. Oh dear. Well, my best shaver, my big shaver, is called a Philharmonica for tough beards. Do you know what? And I think that might be it. That literally feels like it's doing nothing. It feels like it's doing nothing, and yet it's got a baby's bum. It's amazing. I don't know how old this razor is. I know they made them, I think they made them for like 200 years, or actually I might have got that wrong, so I'm not going to say it. But I know they made them for a long time. I'm near sure it was over 100 years. Do you know what? That makes a unique sound as well. That's definitely, I'm pretty hot on my smells and my sounds. It's something that my brain recognises. New smells, new sounds. Does my missus' head in with my sounds. I'm like, that ain't that sound, that's that sound. She don't know sounds. So I don't know how the sound comes out on the old camcorder. But that's a very different sound. Well, I've not heard that sound from a razor. So lo and behold, it's quite a unique razor, and yet it makes its own sound. Lovely. It's very quiet. You know, you can hear it plucking them off. Can't quite believe it. That has made me even more proud of that. I gave it a really good edge. I gave it some nice scales, some nice collars, some nice peening work, and I gave it a good edge. You know what I mean? That's made me pretty proud, that has. Whoever gets this, will be a lucky person. They will definitely own a good razor, man. It's like they're going about Sheffield steel being a bit sort of softer. And you know, I can say, yeah, I've had many a Sheffield razor, but I'll tell you what, now for nothing, this ain't one of them. It had a microchip from memory, and it was about there. And it took me forever to get it out, because I didn't want to bread knife it. You know what I mean? I just didn't want to do it. I wanted to get it down properly as it should be. You know, take my time, basically make sure I'm not wasting steel. It's so important with these old razors, I think. And for a first path, what is that? That is mighty smooth. God. Lovely. Gonna have to try and contact the dude I bought it from now. I did try and contact him straight through the listing, but it was like, I don't know, it was like over a month or something, and I swear it ain't gone through because he never replied. So I'm gonna have to try and go through his other listings, if you know what I mean, because he wanted to see it and everything. He even said about buying it back when it was restored, and if he still wanted to, like, we can definitely negotiate a price, because it's such a good like shaver. It's definitely going to add a few pennies to it. Pennies in the pound, and they say. I mean, I ain't loaded that back up and it's full of it. Too much for me to handle. Brilliant. Yeah, well, that has definitely made my day. That has. They always say, in life, find the simple things. And what that means is find the simple things that you can get forms of joy, proudness, sense of achievement, all those things. And if you fill your day with a few of them every day, you'll lead a better life. At least in your own skull anyway. Give it a bit of a clean. Right, let's go against the grain with this chopper. Big old beautiful blades on them, I tell you. Can't believe how well it shaves, I really can't. If I was going to say one thing, I'd say it's probably not as easy to shave with, like, say for instance, a filly. Fillies have got a bigger blade, by the way, as well. At least that much more. But what I mean is, like, the weight and stuff of the razor is still a big razor, man. It's a chunky old thing, I tell you. But because it ain't got the flex in the blade like a filly has, it's definitely, you have to be a little bit more careful, especially like me. I've got, you know, I'm not going to call myself an old man yet, but nearly. You know, in your nooks and crannies. So again, some newbies, you know, what do you do when you first start? That if you're not sure of the angle, that just lay the thing flat. That lay it flat, and then I mean, your face will tell you. You know, if you feel it abrading, you know, and you know it's a good razor, good edge. You know, you feel it sort of catching. Start again, flatten it, put a bit of angle on it. And one of the things to remember as well is, like, I'm going to do this on the dull, I call it the dull thick side, which is the spine, by the way. So you always kind of go, you know, in one way. So you never go like this. Never go across like that, because then you're going to be massively more prone to slicing instead of cutting. You know, the first time I shaved with a cut through it, I ain't kidding you, my arm was, there we go, look, my hand was nearly like that. Like, it was juddering, like I could see it, like, you know, it was juddering. But I weren't worried, but obviously my brain was a bit. But as soon as you put that razor to face, you know what I mean, it's like two become one, man. You know, it's like I say to people, like, we're not, you know, you're not the person you are now, you're the accumulation of hundreds of thousands of years. So if you're of a sound mind and sound body, that means you've got great men and great women in your history. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, don't let this scare you, because it'd be all good. We'd be alright. Yeah, well, it's been thoroughly tested now against the grain. It's a stiff razor, I'll say that. It's almost like shaving with a massive wedge, but a friendly wedge, because the edge on that is marvellous. I was contemplating putting like a cuticle edge on it, but because I'm not that experienced with my young naturals and everything, and cuticle's the only one I would kind of ponder at the moment. I've got a charney and everything. But the cuticle straight away you could tell is just a better edge, like, sorry, probably an easier edge to obtain, let's call it that. Like, create a bit of slurry, dilute it down, away you go, keep going, maybe create more slurry and do it again. But you know, it's easy, like the whole process is easy, you don't have to do too many laps either, really. Again, it's relatively easy. And that cuticle I've got, you see, I know it's from straight from a barber from the 50s, so it's like, I know for a fact that it's a good cuticle, because you get plenty of, well, not bad cuticles, but not fit for razors. They're more fit for, let's say, high-end kitchen knives, or even your chisels, really, as well, like, you know. Because if you're well into your carpentry, you want a nice shiny edge, like I always did, still do, sorry. So that's it, really. Let's put a bit more lava on the old face. I don't feel like I'm going to get any form of irritation from that, really. And I'm well chuffed. Let's put it that way. In Britain, well chuffed means you're proud, it means you're happy. But there we go. First ever shave with a 4 Barbers use razor. Many a British brand had the same pattern. What is it, Jeeves, I know they did one, Joseph Rogers, Geo as well, Geo, is it Wostenholm, he did one. And do you know what, if I was ever going to keep one, it'd be a Geo, because I'll tell you what, I've got a Geo XX, what is it, IXL, that's not in the best shape, it's for sale, but it's just brilliant metal. So if I was ever going to keep one of these 4 Barbers use, it'd be if I ever come across a Geo that I could tart up and restore, as they say. Oh, I'm so chuffed for that. You wouldn't believe the amount of hours, or at least the amount of thought that's gone into this to preserve it to its best, to do the best by it, basically. That's what I mean. To do the best by it, even though it's an inanimate object. But to me, things like this are important. They lead to other parts of your life, and everything is, you know, everything's linked, basically. Right, I'm gonna strop that bad boy, give it a good few laps. I'm gonna dry it. I'm gonna give it a lovely wash, a good old rub down with my Jeweler's Road cloth, and that will make it all sparkly again as best as it can at the moment. And I'm gonna wish you a good day, and I hope you've had a good one. I'll see you later. Bye bye.